What's up, guys? We are back. The Fitness Profit Multiplier boys are here today to talk about some profit. If you're watching this on YouTube, which I recommend you do because you get a little extra element on all these videos, I'm wearing my AB Fitness Fight Cancer, Breast Cancer shirt. It's bright pink. So if you're watching me on YouTube and I'm just like popping at you, it's because it's coming up on October as we're recording this, and it's Breast Cancer Awareness. And we kind of always talk about having certain things in your marketing that should always kind of be there. And every October is just, for us, it's always been pink shirt season. So we do a special pink shirt every year. We do a different one. And it's cool because the clients kind of collect them over time, which is cool. But neither here nor there. Today, we're going to be talking about the real and right way to grow your fitness business. And I'm excited about this one because so many gurus out there will tell you, you need to do this and you need to do that. And so many people think it's just about getting more leads in, which typically it is, but there is certain things that you have to watch for and make sure that you're beating, and we'll talk about that in a minute. But Big Jimmy, what's going on, man? How you doing today? How you doing?
Doing pretty good, man. Just, coming off another month of consistent growth of the gym and doing less and less out there. So, it's just this system and the numbers that make sure that it all runs. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm excited about that. But nothing news going on. I'm not wearing a nice bright pink sweatshirt like you, but
It's all right, man. It's that time of year. So let's get into it. The real way to grow your business. How do you grow this fitness business? How do you get to the empire and get to the level that Jimmy and I are at, where we're over $1 million a year and growing, right? And improving and getting to those other milestones. And I think that the first milestone is getting to that 100K mark every month. Then it's like, okay, how do I bring home 100K in profit faster? So you kind of reach like these milestones. First, it's like 100K in your like take home. Then it's the 100K per month in the business. And then it's like, okay, how do I make more revenue and bring home more? So, the only way to do that is to grow your business. And it's really, really very, very simple. And it's one thing that I kind of overlooked, and it was brought up to my attention a little bit more recently. So that's why this kind of came to my mind, and I wanted to do a whole episode on this because I think it's important. So we all want leads, right? Leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. And yes, to an extent, that is very, very true. You need more leads in, than the people you're losing. But we talked about the leaky bucket before. And the leaky bucket is, clients leaving on the back end, right? People leaving, people canceling, people going, on hold, all those things. So how do you actually grow your business? Well, the way you grow your business is you need to be ahead of certain metrics. And those two important metrics that you need to be ahead of are your churn rate, how many people are leaving your establishment and not coming back, or how many people are actually going on hold. And holds are kind of overlooked, right? Because people still count them. Oh, they're still members, they're just on hold. But you're not getting revenue from those people. So if you're not collecting that revenue, technically it's a loss on the business. So in order for you to be net positive and growing your gym every month, you need to be ahead of those two things. So if I lost 10 clients this month, or 5 clients, or whatever the number is, if I lost 5 clients this month and 5 clients went on hold, I am negative 10, which means that if I want to grow, I need to have 12 members in the gym, or even 11. And technically, I've grown. Even though those hold people will come back, you still got to make up that loss in revenue. And the only way to do that is by adding more people in.
Exactly. It's people don't tend to appreciate the paint by numbers process that a gym can be. You just are always saying, I need more leads, I need more leads, I need more leads. But if you can't identify where the actual problem is in your business and why you're not growing, then you'll never grow. And sometimes you can have as many leads as you want, but if your bucket is too leaky, there's either an issue with the service being provided, there's an issue with the way that your customer experience is, the way that your workouts may be, the way your gym's laid out, your onboarding process. There's something else that's going on that's producing all of this loss rate, right? And if you just paint my numbers and you look at those numbers and you go, well, how many am I adding? How many am I losing? You can always add more, but the real paint by numbers is losing less. And as Anthony said, a lot of people don't think about freeze rate, right? And freeze rate is one of the things that you have to keep in mind, because sometimes people will freeze at your gym and they'll become what we call the perma freeze client, where they freeze and then they reach back out to you and they freeze and they freeze and they freeze and they extend their freeze over and over and over again until it gets to the point of ridiculousness. And then you say, screw it, I'm just getting rid of this client in my system because they're screwing up my revenue projections and all this stuff, right? So keep in mind that freezes may not mean forever, but they may just be an indicator that that person wants to really cancel the membership. So you can't treat it like it's, oh, well, their spot is still there for them, I don't want to fill their spot up. No. You fill their spot up, because 9 times out of 10, you have more space in your gym anyway. So when they come back, there'll be space. And the second thing is, you don't know when you're getting that revenue back. Even if they say it's a 2-week freeze, you don't know if it's going to be 2 weeks, 2 months, right? And 2 months without revenue from a freeze client can drastically impact your revenue and your profit margin. So
it's funny. I was on the phone with a gym owner. Somebody clicked the link below and booked a call with us. And I was on the phone with the gym owner the other day, and he basically was saying that, this is the first time in his business, and I made a whole thing about, like, BC, which was before the vid, and then AC, which is after the vid, because your business is kind of everyone's business has changed before and after that, right? So he was saying that BC, he would just never have clients cancel. They would just go on hold and never come back. So that's why you have to shift that mindset of, like, okay, they're on hold, even though they might come back. There's a chance they're going to come back. Maybe they're on hold because they're injured or whatever, and maybe they will come back. But what if they won't? So they have to be counted as a loss, because, like Jimmy said, you can't be holding people's spots. And, when we talk about actually growing your business, we're looking at a couple of levers that we can pull, right? We could pull, yes, we could add more clients, but there are levers you can pull on the back end of it that can help to improve those numbers. So if we look at the 2 metrics that you need to look at when it comes to growing your business, is not losing a lot of people and the people on hold. What can you do to improve that lever, right? Like, no one talks about those levers. Well, we've mentioned it on so many of the episodes already, but learning to have that crewing conversation with clients that are leaving. How can you get these clients to not leave? So if you lost 5 clients last month, maybe 3 of them moved. You can't do anything about that. This is something that happens. But maybe the other 2, maybe you could have downgraded them. Maybe you could have had a conversation with them, the crewing conversation that we had in the last episode. I think it was the last episode that we talked about having. And maybe you could have downgraded them to another service or upgraded them to another service. So that's another lever that you can pull to really help improve those numbers on your business. Because remember, if you lost 5 people and you save at least one, just one, right? That's one less person you have to sign up to overfill the back end. And the same thing with the holds. Why are they going on hold? And I tell my staff this all the time. If somebody reaches out to you and says, hey, I need to go on hold, pick up the phone and call them, get them on the phone. What's going on? Why are you going on hold? You're doing so good, Mrs. Jones. What's going on? Why do you need to go on hold? Oh, my schedule, the kids. All right, well, listen, why don't we try to do this? Why don't we, blah, blah, blah. And you figure out a solution. It's the same conversation that you're having on both ends of it. Don't just accept it right off the bat and say, okay, they just canceled, or okay, they're going on hold. Have those conversations. Teach and role play with your staff those conversations, or if you're having them yourself, role play those conversations with your staff to really, really get to the bottom of those problems and pull that lever on the back end. Remember my example that I gave before, 10 people were not left, whatever, 10 people minus for the month, right? If you save 1 person on a cancel and 2 people on a hold, now you only lost 8, which means that if you want to grow and you signed up 11 people, you grew by a lot more. It's a lot more revenue every month that you're going to get. So you have to learn to pull those last 2 levers. And again, like I said, no one really talks about that, which is why we're here with you guys and explaining this to you. So you have to pull those back levers.
Everybody talks about leads, right? That's all you hear. And leads, I get it. Leads are sexy, right? Well, I mean, maybe not the leads you're getting in your gym, but getting more leads is sexy, right? That's what sells. That's the ticket. That's what every gym owner thinks they need is more leads, more leads, more leads. If I could just get more leads, my business would be bigger and better. But that's not always the case, right? Because you could get the 30 leads a week like we get here at our facility, right? 30 to 40 leads a week. And you could close at our percentages, you could close 30 or 40 clients a month, right? New clients. But if you're losing that many, and then you're getting freezes on top of that, your business isn't growing. And that's why sometimes we scrape and claw for the next revenue jump at this stage in our business, because it's one of these things that your churn sometimes outpaces the acquisition that you can reasonably manage. So the sexy thing is not always the thing that gets you where you want to go. It's the boring thing. It's talking to people. It's having those conversations to reduce the churn rate of your business. It's talking with your members and making sure that their experience is top notch, right? And they feel like it's customized. They feel like you're zoned in on them, and they are actually getting a lot of value out of the product, right? So the customer experience is really important for retention. But as Anthony said, just talk to your members if they're canceling, if they're freezing. You have to have those conversations, and you go back a couple of podcasts, or I don't know which one it was, but go look at our crewing conversation one, because that will help you build a framework around how you should actually be talking to your cancellation members. So know those numbers, track them, see where you're at, and your problem may not be lead flow. Your problem may be there's too many holes in that bucket and you got to plug.
So I want to say two things right now. So one, we actually had this, like, and I've had this conversation so many times, like, some people, you help them and they stay, and some people don't. It's just part of it. It's percentages. It's always going to, all of life is numbers. So whether you're like me and you hate math, learn to love it, because it's no matter what you do, it's always there. But we had a woman once who wanted to cancel, sat down with her, spoke to her, figured out what the issue was, and got her to stay. She stayed 6 more months after that. That's a lot of revenue. So if I never had that conversation, that's 6 months of profit. And remember, it's always more expensive to acquire clients than it is to keep them. So basically, that was 6 months of pure profit that was on the back end that I collected by having one conversation. So that conversation is probably more important than a sales meeting that you're about to have. So you have to think about it like that. And the second thing too, I would say a good, reasonable churn number for our businesses, small group personal training, would probably be anywhere between, realistically, obviously we all want to get to like 2 and 3%, but I would say in the 3 to 8% range is kind of like the number, the range you want to be at. But you always want to try to be like in that 5, I think, percent is like ideal, right? So that's a 5 number is probably ideal. So now if you do your churn percentage, so basically you take your total clients, how many clients left, and you figure out the math and you get that percentage, and you do that every month and track that number. Now, if you're over that, then you have to look at the experience. So I like to look at a fitness business almost like a restaurant, right? And what are we serving? We're serving a nice quality steak. What's the steak? The workout, right? And everything else around that is just like a dining out experience. You have your staff, which can be equated to the waiters. You're kind of the cook in the back. If you're at the stage that we're at, we're the cook in the back, or we're kind of telling the cooks, we're not even the cooks anymore. We're like the guys who are giving them the recipes, and the cooks are out setting everything up. So you have to look at it like that. How's the experience in the gym? Are the waiters, which are your trainers, how are the waiters doing their job? Are they cordial? Are they very inviting to members? Are they smiling? Are they this or that? Check that experience. And if it is good, check the box. Then you look at the next experience. How's the atmosphere in the room? Does the gym smell? Is it very dirty? Again, equated to a dining experience. Is there dirt on the table? Is there dirt on the chairs? Look at that stuff. That's the big picture. That's the atmosphere, the ambiance. Like, I went into Jimmy's gym and he had like a smelling thing going. I don't know what the hell that thing was. It was some girly thing.
Diffuser?
I'm the one I'm the one wearing the pink shirt, but Jimmy's here with diffusers and all these other smelling things in the gym. But again, it's part of that atmosphere and then experience. And then if those things are all checked out and people are still leaving at a higher rate, maybe your steak sucks, and this is things that we've experienced all throughout our journey, and at certain points, maybe your steak is really, really good and maybe your steak is horrible. So you need to coat that shit with some butter, make it nice, and then keep going and then look at the numbers. But that's how you have to look at your fitness business when it comes to the churn. You have to look at it like a restaurant experience. What's missing from this experience? What can I improve? And then go from there.
And sometimes just being honest with yourself about how your product can be better makes a huge difference in your business growth, right? So many trainers have an ego around, and gym owners have an ego around, well, this is the way we've always done it. This is the way it needs to be, right? But if your churn rate is high, there's something wrong with your client experience. There's something wrong with your steak, as Anthony puts it, right? There's something wrong with it, and you need to take a look at it and see if your meat's spoiled, right? See if your waiters are, talking bad to your clients or whatever it may be, right? You have to look in and be that quality assurance person at your facility to make sure that it's to the standard that you want it to be, and it's to the standard that keeps clients coming in. Check the numbers, make some changes, check the numbers, and then that's how you make growth happen.
Jimmy, you're the math guy before we sign off here. So I want you to, hopefully you know the statistic because I don't know it off my head.
I don't know.
But there's this big saying that's out there that talks about retention and keeping clients longer. Do you know what a client's worth after a certain point? Like what that, you know what I'm talking about? There's like a number for that you can kind of figure out. Clients worth X amount more when they stay past a certain point versus, a client in the beginning. I forget those numbers, but bottom line is what I'm saying. And if you don't remember it, basically a client that stays with you longer, every month that they stay with you more and more increases your lifetime value of your clients, but also puts more profit in your hand. So you got to look at the churn, but that's really, guys, that's the one way to grow your business. And probably the most effective way. Check how many holds you got, track that shit meticulously. How many people left, track that shit meticulously, have those genuine conversations and really try to save as many of those people as possible. Then when you have that number, make sure you're beating that number every month. So this way you can grow your business and put more profit in your pocket. So make sure you click that link below to hop on the phone and talk to us today to help you grow your business. Until next time, Anthony and Jimmy, Fitness Profit Multiplier, and we are out.